It's Gordon with Fascinated by Fungi here. I'm going to show you how I made this delicious mushroom chicken seafood gumbo. First thing I did was to start browning a roux, which is an equal mixture of flour and fat. I chopped up some veggies. The first one to go is celery, onion, bell pepper. That's the holy trinity of Creole and Cajun food. Here I am just kind of slicing up my onions and getting stuff ready. This is a process known as mise en place, which is really important when you're going to cook a dish that comes together pretty quickly. You want to have all your ingredients prepared and ready to go, kind of like they do on cooking shows. But I'm just taking the time here as I'm slowly browning the roux in the background to chop up all my veggies and get everything ready for going into the gumbo. And this is a pretty traditional selection of stuff, except for the mushrooms. I used Maitake because that's what I had on hand, but honestly, pretty much any mushroom would work in this and be delicious. I like to break Maitake up by hand so it keeps some texture. Here I'm slicing up some okra. This is really important for traditional gumbo. It helps thicken it. Adding some fresno chilies, which isn't traditional, but I had them and they're delicious. Then I'm using linguiça sausage instead of andouille because that's what I could find at the grocery store. It's all pretty much the same. There's my mise en place all done, ready to start cooking. My roux browned out really nicely, got kind of chocolatey brown. Took about 40 minutes. Went ahead, salted my chicken, let it warm up a little bit, start searing it off. I don't need to cook it fully. I'm just trying to get a little browning on it and some fond to the bottom of the pan. So I added my sausage, my maitake, and let it start to render out for a little bit. Go in with my holy trinity and some green onions and just sweat those for a little bit, deglaze the bottom of the pan. And here I go in time lapse, browning off the chicken and then rendering the sausage and maitake. I go in with my holy trinity. I add some chilies and some garlic. I add some bay and some thyme along with a little creole seasoning. I go in with the roux, which is nice and brown, a little bit of tomato, the okra, some red peppers. I cover that in some water and chicken stock and just let this cook down for about 30-40 minutes. You'll see it start thickening up pretty quickly with the roux. After it's cooked, I add in some frozen shrimp and just stir briefly to get them incorporated. Then I go ahead and dump in some oysters. Give it just another minute or two. You don't want to overcook your seafood. Stir it all up. Let the residual heat cook it through. Oh man, look at this gumbo. It was so delicious, so rich. I put down a little bit of matsutake sake rice. I have a recipe for that also on my YouTube. Here I'm spooning in the chicken and some of the gumbo goodness, getting those oysters and those shrimps in there. This is one tasty recipe. It's super hearty, stick to your bones, finish off a little green onion, splash more Cajun seasoning. Oh, so good.